Good morning, my darlings. The sun is very bright today. The humidity is very high, but it is a beautiful day. I hope wherever you are in the world today that you're feeling loved and blessed and safe and seen. That you're chasing your dreams and you're feeling happiness and peace. I feel so much better than yesterday. I am so sorry for yesterday's video. I was a lethargic mess all day. I couldn't get my brain on board, and I think it was the caffeine. I felt it pass at one point in the afternoon. Amy was over and we were talking, and just like all of a sudden, like I was like, wait a minute, I feel okay. It was so bad. It could have been, astrology yesterday, Venus was going behind the sun or across the sun, which, making her transformation from evening star to morning star. So it's like a death and rebirth of all of our creativity and our femininity, and I just don't usually feel it that intensely, so I think it was the caffeine. But regardless of all of that, I'm feeling much, much better today. As far as like in carnivore news, yesterday was not my best day. You may have noticed. And I ended up caving. I had some orange soda here, so I was drinking some orange soda yesterday. So I had more sugary drinks yesterday, which is, carnivore, you think it's all about the carbs. It's not really. It's about the sugar. And, that includes high fructose corn syrup and, added sweeteners and all of those things. You want to be very careful of those things, because those are the things that, trigger glucose responses, insulin, and all that in your body, that eating a carnivore diet just completely heals and settles. So it wasn't my best carnivore day yesterday. I am, however, down 4 pounds for the week, so I'm very excited. And I mean, really, since Sunday, it hasn't even been a full week. So I'm in that really rapid, like 1 pound a day loss moment. It doesn't last forever, but I'm enjoying it in this moment. The only qualm I'm having about my carnivore journey at the moment is I'm not supercharged with the energy yet. And so I was praying about that this morning. I was meditating on that, and I got a pretty clear response about that I'm eating cheap cuts of meat, and if I want the energy aspect of it, I need to put out a little bit more money and buy some better cuts of meat. I'm also looking at some of those boxed meat companies. I'm looking at like Wild Pastures or Seven Sons. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about them. There is a puppy. There is a local farm here down in Orlando, or it's a grocery that deals with the local farms in the state that gets meat, but they don't have delivery. They're quite a distance from my house. It's probably about an hour drive. But I'm contemplating that as well, and I'm looking at all of my options to see what I can do to elevate the cuts of meat. Now, I'm already clear-headed. I'm already losing weight. But one of the main reasons I love carnivore so much is for the amount of energy that I get. So if I have to buy better cuts of meat for that, because just eating meat, I'm just eating ground chuck and stuff from the grocery store, and I'm still getting most of the benefits. I'm just not tipping over into that energy, and that's, I've been there and I felt it and I want it. And so I'm gonna reach for it. I'm gonna see if I can shift that up. Probably not until next week, because I already have my groceries bought for this week, but I'm gonna see if I can shift that up. So that's where carnivore is. In other news, the Christmas tree is gone. Took her to the trash last night. So my house is de-Christmased. I'm getting some eucalyptus branches delivered today that I'm going to put up in place of some of the garland that I had up, just because I really like the way it looked in the house. And I'm switching out my curtains today to a more wintry curtain. It's still got some snowflakes on it, and I have 2 curtains on my living room window. One's like a solid color, and this one's, for Christmas I had red. Now I'm going to have like an ice blue. Goes with my icy fingernails. and then like a snowflake curtain behind it, because as I sit out here and literally sweat, I get that it's Christmas in Florida, or winter in Florida, but I still want to have like that seasonal like, I want to be able to remember it's still winter, y'all. It's still winter. So I've decided to go with some winter decor for the season, and then I'll change it in the spring. I like that idea. I used to do that when I was very early on in my marriage, and I was still very young and dreamy, and you know, rose-colored glasses and all of that. But I want to bring that back. So we're changing out the curtains today, and I'm putting up the new garland today, and then my house will be over Christmas but still in winter, and I'm happy about that. I'll show it to you guys tomorrow once I get it all done. Anyway, on the subject of rose-colored glasses, I was actually the other day, I was starting to think my rose-colored glasses may be coming back. Like, I almost remember to the moment when they got knocked off. But I've been having these moments where it's like, it almost feels like that whole, like, everything is just so beautiful, you know, and you just feel so positive and happy, and everything's just a little colored with rose. I mean, it's just, I don't know a better way to put it. I was watching Burlesque last night. I love that movie. I mean, really, truly. Although it's mostly just about the dance numbers. I love dancing. I was a dancer when I was younger, and half destroyed my body doing it, but it was fun and I loved it. I always loved dancing, and so I love dance numbers and any kind of musical productions. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And so I was watching Burlesque last night, and one of the things that I've noticed about myself since I've moved over here, and that my life is kind of resetting and my nervous system is resetting and everything, this is like a weird, strange thing, and I think I've mentioned it before, but it's like I keep finding myself trying to put myself back in like a survival mode. I think it's just primarily because it's what I know. It's what I'm used to. It's like, it's on some level, some part of me feels like that's what's right. So I'm having to be pretty careful and conscious about anchoring in this life, in this place. But this sort of feeling of being really settled and solid, I've never had before. So it does feel uncomfortable sometimes. It feels weird. And so, yeah, I do find myself reaching for a chaos and just like something that will cause me to have to struggle, which I get is like such a weird thing to say. But I'm there a little bit. And as I was watching Burlesque, I realized that there's so many movies and music and just pieces of art that I have connected with through the years because I connect to the struggle of them. Like Burlesque, you know, if you don't know the movie because it wasn't a big hit, Christina Aguilera plays a character named Tess, and no, she plays a character named Allie. Cher plays a character named Tess. And both characters are struggling. You know, Allie has moved to Los Angeles to make it as a dancer, and you know, she's young, and it's that whole, I have no money, she knows nobody in the world, her mother's dead, so she has no family, you know, she's all alone in the world and struggling to make it for the first time. At the same time, you've got Tess on the other end of it, who's clearly lived a long life and had many adventures, but she is, you know, in financial crisis, and she's going to lose her club. She owns the Burlesque Club. And I was just watching that, and I've watched this movie a million times. And I still love the movie. But it doesn't resonate the same with me. It doesn't resonate the same because the camaraderie with me in the movie, the connection, was the struggle. It was watching somebody else get out of the struggle. And I'm realizing it was the same thing at Christmas. Some of my favorite Christmas movies are the same thing, and I still love them. I still loved Burlesque, but they don't give me the same feels they used to give me, and I'm shocked by that. And that's probably entirely naive of me, but I am truly shocked. And it gave me a whole other level of understanding of why, you know, humanity as a species, why we can't necessarily understand one another, and why we don't connect very well sometimes, and we don't resonate with each other. It's because we have all of these different experiences, and we're in different places in life. If you're struggling, you're going to connect with people that are struggling because it gives you hope. You know, watching the movies where people are, you know, they win, you know, the underdog wins. That gives you hope. And hope is the most important thing, right? So I find myself asking, well, then who am I now? I mean, like, literally, like, who am I outside of the struggle? Like, just me in a life that's pretty solid and pretty wonderful. Well, who the hell am I? What do I love? What do I do? Like, I find myself spending a lot of my days just sort of like sitting and being and appreciating and feeling the peace of this life. But I'm not doing a lot. And I'm working on my sim stuff. And I'm doing 100 conversations. I forgot to mention that at the top of the video. This is conversation 7 of 100. If you're new to the channel and you've gotten in this far, I'm doing 100 conversations in 100 days. And that's what this is. And this is number 7. But anyway, outside of that, I find myself questioning what the hell. I'm sorry. I don't mean to curse. But what the heck am I doing? You know, like, for real. And right now, Disney isn't really pulling to me because Disney has always pulled to me from a sense of home, but this is home now. And this is the home that I've looked for since I was 13. This is the sense of home that I've looked for since I was 13 years old, that I had been using Disney as a fill-in, whatever. I still love Disney. I still will go back to Disney, but I will have to build a new relationship with Disney because it's not going to be home anymore. So I have to figure out what that's going to be. And I guess I'm just like that in like every area of life. I'm having to reconfigure and like, it's so bizarre to me. It's like all I did was move into an apartment, but it's changed everything. It has literally changed everything about me. Not in a bad way. I mean, it's just sort of, it's like a level up, I guess. I am more solid. I am more capable. I am happier than I've ever been. But it has changed me. It has changed me. Now, this year, you know, my goals are really to get super healthy anyway. So I'm not too worried about not having like an ambitious project or an adventure to go on this year. That project/adventure is carnivore, is losing weight, is getting super healthy. I'm also working on my YouTube channels because, like I said, I'd like to transfer income over to YouTube if I can, particularly if I could get my sim story channel monetized, and if I could entertain people and do the same thing I used to do with my books. You know, make people feel, make people stop for a moment and think, give people some kind of warmth and cozy vibe. That would make me so happy if I made my income again doing that. So I am super focused on my sim channel, trying to figure out exactly what's going to work over there. And the carnivore, those are like my 2 big things of this year. So I'm not overly concerned that I don't have like a driving call to go do something else. I need to get these 2 pieces in place to kind of finish my puzzle over here with the apartment. And you know, and I am seriously considering a dog, but I'm not going to get that until later in the year because I might not even get it till next year, because it's not fair to get a dog around the holidays and then be running around and out of the house all the time and leaving the poor dog alone. I don't want to do that. Whatever dog I get, I want to give it the best homecoming possible and the best like start to life in my house in the relationship between us. I want to give him all the attention that he needs, desires. So it's probably better to wait until like next January for that. So again, that puts this year specifically being about carnivore and my stories. Because part of the reason I want to change my income over to YouTube is because it does if I can make the sim channel work, it gives me the ability to tell stories again for a living. I'm very disheartened with the publishing industry in the state that it's in. I really don't want to be in it anymore. So writing books is not a calling on my heart. It would end up feeling like a job, and I am trying to avoid that if at all possible. I understand sometimes work is just work. I mean, you do need to make a living, and I get that. But I'm gonna try this first because I can. I'm very blessed in that I can. And so that's, those are my plans for the year. And to continue to try to figure out who I am. It's so funny to me too, because that was the reason I moved. I wanted to know who I was if I just lived by myself, if it was just me. And I've discovered that sorry, I-4 is a little loud this morning. I have discovered that I really like me, the me that I have discovered here, but I'm a little at loose ends, not really sure which direction to go in. And Amy said something to me that was very, very wise yesterday. She said, well, maybe it's because you need to button up these other two pieces. Maybe it's a gift to not feel called to something else, because that would be calling you away from these two pieces that are practical, but that need to get buttoned up. And I thought that was brilliant. Amy has moments of brilliance. I treasure that friendship more than I would ever be able to express to you guys. I love her so much. She is a wise friend and a good counterpart to me. She gets my crazy and is able to help me balance it out. I'm so blessed by her. And, she literally was a blessing, because my guides orchestrated that whole thing. I don't know if I've told that story here or not, but you got to go back to, I think it was 2013. And it might have been 2012, but I think it was 2013, early in 2013. And I'd been out at Disney Springs a couple nights before, somewhere in the last week in meditation. My guides had said, we're bringing in your people, so stay open to conversations that spring up out of nowhere out at Disney. And I was like, well, that's oddly specific, but okay, because I especially back then, I'm very shy and very closed off to myself. I didn't just openly conversate with people. I do kind of now, but I didn't then. So I was at Disney Springs this one night, and I'm sitting at the bus stop waiting to get the bus that goes back to the TTC so I can get the city bus that goes where I was living, to home. And this girl comes up, and she's on the phone. She's talking kind of excitedly about the night she'd had had dinner with a friend, and her vibe was just so cute. And I was just thinking, and I was watching her the whole way back on the bus too, and I was just thinking, she's got such a nice vibe. I'm like, I want to be that. I think I either said I want to be her, or I was like, I want to be best friends with her, kind of a thing, very facetiously. Of course it was Amy. But anyway, so we got off at the TTC, and we're both waiting for our next connecting buses. It's the same bus, only her bus was going this way and my bus was going to go that way. So we weren't getting on the exact same bus, just the same route. Anyway, Wishes started, and you can see them very well from the TTC. And she and I were both watching them. And she said something like, oh, you got to love any night that ends with fireworks from Disney. And I was like, yeah, I love them. They're great. And then a second or two later, those words came back to me. Stay open to conversations that spring up at Disney. And I was like, oh, crap. This is one of my people. So I said something back, and we had a little conversation. And then I gave her one of my business cards, because I couldn't let her just go. And I knew I couldn't. I was like, here, friend me on Facebook. I had business cards for my books, for being an author. And so I gave her that. And actually, I was writing sexy books at the time, so it was kind of a sexy business card, and she hid it in her house because she's like, when he came in and saw it, I was going to be so embarrassed, which cracks me up to this day. But anyway, not the point of this conversation. So yeah, that's how Amy and I met. And then it was really funny because, for the longest time, she had stuff going on, I had stuff going on, and we never really connected after that much. I think we met in the park a couple of times. And I would bemoan that to particularly my oldest kid often. I just don't understand. My guys are usually so spot on about stuff, and they said that, Amy was one of my people, and I just nothing ever happened there, and I just don't get it. And I said that to him a handful of times over probably a 2-year span of time. And then now, every month or so, Phineas likes to come to me and say, Gee, it's a shame nothing ever worked out between you and that Amy. Your guys are always so wrong. I'm always like, shut up, Phineas. So anyway, that's a brief recap of me and Amy. And, you know, to this day, best friend I've ever had. I've never had anyone, not even a parent, have my back the way Amy's had my back. I love her. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because she is coming over again today to help me finish up in the apartment, and we're going to go grocery shopping together. So I want to get this edited and uploaded before she gets here. So I thank you for being here. I thank you if you stayed all the way to the end. I hope that wherever you are in the world that you are having a beautiful, blessed middle of the week, because it's Wednesday, right? And the rest of your week and into the weekend, of course, always blessed, happy, all those things, safe, protected, all the things, you know. I love you. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings. Be well, be blessed. I'm rambling, I know. I'm gonna wrap this up, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I have so much gratitude for you. Thank you. See you tomorrow.